Hey, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching. My name is Pete Blank, and I'm the manager of the Personnel Board Training and Organizational Development Department. Happy to be sharing a webinar with you called the Role Model of Leadership. Now, this is a pilot. This is the first time we've done a webinar here at the Personnel Board of Jefferson County, so I'm looking forward to your feedback. First thing I want to let you know is this won't be longer than 20 to 25 minutes at the most, so we look forward to you spending some time with us today to learn a little more about how you can be a role model in leadership. A couple of logistical things. As a reminder, this is a pilot program. It's our first time doing this, and if it's successful, we're going to go ahead and have them monthly by each of our Personnel Board training advisors. We are recording this webinar today, so it will be put up on our website at meritmatters.org. So if you couldn't make the live webcast viewing today, we will have this recorded for you to go back and watch at your own leisure on your desktop or even on your mobile device. If you have any feedback about this style of learning or about webinars or about how this can be better or any audio or video problems or any topics for the future, shoot me an email, pete.blank@pbjcal.org, and we'll be sure and answer those and use them as we continue to grow and develop this new learning possibility for us. So let's go ahead and get started today with the idea of being a role model. I'll give you a second to think, who was the famous athlete, the famous sports celebrity who at one time said, "I am not a role model"? Can you remember who that is? Yeah, it was Charles Barkley from right here in Alabama, and he actually made a good point years ago when he brought this up. His concept was that, his job isn't to be a role model for young kids when he was playing basketball. That's up to the parents, perhaps teachers, perhaps clergy or ministers or people who were involved, but not him as an athlete. And as we talk about the concept of role models today, some of you may feel the same way. Well, my job is to go to work, get paid, provide for my family. I'm not here to be a role model for other employees. And I would say, actually, it is. And that's why I want to help you get the most out of your leadership journey here in the merit system and talk about what I call the leadership role model. So let's talk what each of these stands for. R, the core there, you'll see stands for relationships. You can't do anything without building relationships. Then once you have those set, you work on oversight. And the O will stand for oversight. And we'll give you a little more information on what that means. L is for leverage. You have to be able to leverage your partners and leverage your processes. We'll talk about that. And the biggest band around there is evolvement. And that one can get as big as you want. That one can continue to grow and grow and grow, because I believe that leaders never stop evolving, and that's part of your leadership journey. So let's go ahead and get started with a quick story. Some of you may already know this, but this is my home in Trussville, Alabama. It's the one on the right with the swimming pool, and this picture was taken a little bit before January of 2013. And then on the morning of January 23rd, 2013, an F3, category F3 tornado came through, and that's what happened to our neighborhood. Very similar to the one that just came through Jacksonville State in Jacksonville, Alabama recently. Now, no one died in our neighborhood, and there were some injuries, but there was a lot of damage. A lot of stuff was missing, blown away, gone. But the point of the story is, I don't think we could have gotten through this without the relationships that we had built. The number of people who came out from our community, from my workplace, from our church, strangers that I didn't even know who wanted to come and give back. I think a lot of that is built on the idea of relationships, people helping people helping each other and wanting everyone to do better. And that's where they are. That's why relationships is at the core of the role model. You have to build this first. A lot of you know I used to work at Disney, so I love a good Walt Disney quote. And this is one of my favorites. Walt said, "The greatest moments in life are not concerned with selfish achievements, but rather with the things we do for the people we love and esteem and whose respect we need." And I think when we talk about being role models of leadership, we have to keep that in mind. It's more of a servant leadership mentality. We don't want to be selfish and win and get the promotion and get more money and boss people around. Really, idea of relationship building as the core of leadership is, what do we do for those around us? Help them to grow, help them to get better at what they do. So here's a few things I want you to think about. Number one, I want you to be positive. All right. No one wants to build a relationship with those people in the workplace who just are always unhappy. Just this past week, it was a Monday about 3 o'clock, and I was riding the elevator, and someone got on in my building, and I said, "How you doing?" And she said, "Woo, thank goodness Monday's almost over. I hate it." I thought to myself, well, it's very sad. I mean, poor Monday's got a bad rap. I wanted to let her know that the alternative was if she would have died on Sunday, she wouldn't even be here. So you have to enjoy Mondays because you're there. But you know the type of people I'm talking about. Everything is bad. Everything is wrong. Everything is against them. So, you need to be positive. So you can build those relationships. The second thing I want to recommend is that you walk your areas every day. Now, a lot of people call this managing by walking around. It's a management technique, but you don't have to be a manager to do this. In fact, we encourage everyone to do it. This is the building where I work, and we have 4 floors in this building. We have floor number 1, 2, 9, and 10. And there's times that you get onto your floor, your office, and you don't see other people in your own organization for 2, 3, 4 days at a time. So I'm not saying you have to wander the halls all the time, but couple minutes a day, couple minutes a week, whenever you can, get out and walk your areas, get to know people. If you work in City Hall, you work in a county commission, you work at a fire department, make sure that you get out and get around and walk your areas, know people who are out there. The third part about building relationships is all about attitude, which kind of ties in a little bit to be positive. But if you have a chance to be on a hiring committee, if you have a chance to be on the secondary interview committee, yes, you have to look for the merit because we're in the merit system. And again, we have to hire for the skill, but don't discount the attitude. I mean, there's a great picture here that happened across the street from us last year where a car caught on fire. And of course, the fire department comes out, and these employees and are skilled at what they do. They can put it out. But they've also got to go back and live with their coworkers for 23 more hours, the rest of their 24-hour shift. You want to make sure you've got someone with a good attitude there who you can build relationships with. So it's not just about the skill set, it's also about the attitude. So what do you do? What do you do? Here's some action items for you. If you've got a pen and a piece of paper, I recommend writing these down. These are your R relationship action items, things you can actually work on right now. Number 1, build those personal and electronic relationships. First up is personal. This picture here is a group of the personnel board where I work, and this gentleman, Guy, organizes Friday lunch bunches. So he always does them on Fridays of payday, and he shoots an email out and says, hey, we're going to try a new restaurant. And it's always somewhere new. We're going to go out and try something different to eat. Most people, as you can see, enjoy it. It's a cross section of managers and non-managers, hourly and salaried, frontline, back of the house. Most people there look like they're having a good time. There's my buddy Jerry there, looks miserable on the left. But it's fun, it's engaging, and it helps you to build relationships. Now, what about electronic relationships? Yes, we have to look into that. Twitter, Facebook. I'm not saying you have to live on social media, but it's important that you're aware of it and know how to use your electronic relationships properly through social media. The second thing I'd recommend is you need to say yes to volunteer opportunities. You're going to get lots of these requests. Hey, can you walk for breast cancer? Hey, can you walk for this event? Hey, we're doing a 5K. Hey, can you come help stack food at the food bank? We're doing. These are things that you want to do. These are things where you get involved. This is a group of us going out to Birmingham Reads last year, and that comes there in April. Every year, people go out and read to civic groups. Civic groups go out and read to the schools in the Birmingham community. And that's a great way to go out. And we went out and did Habitat for Humanity last Friday, which was pretty exciting. Just took our team out and painted a house. And it gives you a chance to get to know each other and get to know people in your department, other departments. So say yes to those volunteer opportunities. The third action item for you is to develop a successful personal brand. If you're going to build a relationship, maybe if people don't want to spend time with you, maybe it's you that they don't like. So figure out who you are, what you stand for, what your brand is. We've got a great course here at the Personnel Board. It's a day and a half course, but it's called Personal Branding, and it's available here. We offer it 4 times a year. I would highly recommend you get involved in that if you haven't done that so far. So the R stands for relationships. Let's get into the O. The O stands for oversight, is the O in the leadership role model. Now, at first glance, we don't like the word oversight. It sounds like micromanagement. It sounds like Big Brother is watching. And here's a picture of my son. He's actually got oversight watching the crane pull his room out of the bottom of the pool. That's not the type of oversight that I'm talking about. I'm talking about this definition here, which is watchful and responsible care. And I love that definition of oversight because it's not about just Big Brother watching or micromanaging. It's about you care. You care about the organization, the department, the people, the processes, and you are going to be watchful and have responsible care over that. And part of the thing you have to have oversight over is your corporate culture. Now, here's a couple of pictures of the personnel board. We do a lot of fun things around here. During the last solar eclipse, we all got glasses and made boxes and went out on the parking deck as a group. Or if it's college football kickoff once a year, we'll have a pizza party. We'll all get together and have pizza and talk about college football. Those are events that sometimes leaders stand back and say, well, that's not my job. I can't do that. That's management's position to organize these things. No, you have the right to have the oversight over your corporate culture. So if no one else is going to do these things, you want to go out there and organize them. The second thing is you have to be aware and have oversight over your fellow employees. Who's feeling well? Who's not feeling well? Whose kid just hit a home run in a little league game that you want to talk about? Who's got a parent in a nursing home? Who's got a spouse or a significant other going through a sickness? These are things you need to know about so you can, again, build relationships, but also have oversight over your fellow employees. This is a way that you show your leadership skills. Again, it's part of the definition is care. So I think it's important that you have oversight over everybody you're working with. And finally, you've got oversight over your processes. Right? We need to make sure that we're running streamlined organizations, and leaders need to make sure that they're looking at that. And when I worked at Walt Disney World, we had this concept called guest satisfaction measurement. And it was a 6-step process. It was fairly simple. And the best way I can explain it to you is just through an example. So let's say that I'm working at a fast food quick service restaurant in one of the theme parks, and I'm working the cash register. Someone comes up and gives me their order and then says, I'd like Dr. Pepper. Well, as an employee, my response is, well, we don't have Dr. Pepper. I'm sorry, would you like Pepsi? Or Mr. Pibb. A couple of minutes later, someone else comes up and orders and said, hey, I'd like Dr. Pepper. Well, we don't have Dr. Pepper. Here's what we do have. So there's 2 ways to approach this. One is to just complain about it and say, my word, how come people order stupid stuff we don't have? Or you could measure. Okay, so you can see on the steps here, step 1 is listen and learn. So I'm listening. I'm learning that about 30 people a day are asking me for Dr. Pepper. So let's measure it. So let's start tallying it. Let's start keeping tick marks on a piece of paper, whatever we can do. Then we'll take action. Let's go ahead, now that we've proven that there's a need, let's put Dr. Pepper into the actual quick service restaurant. Then we'll remeasure. How many people are saying thank you? How many are saying, now we want Diet Dr. Pepper? How many are upset that something else came off to replace it? And if it all goes well, we'll recognize, we'll celebrate, and then we'll share that information. We'll share it with other quick service restaurants and say, hey, did you know that if you add this, your cost and your sales will go up, customer satisfaction? That's the whole measurement piece. And you need to have oversight over that. Now, a lot of you say, well, we can't do that. Well, sure you can. I mean, here's an example. We just changed our personnel board training website from a website called pbjcal.org over to meritmatters.org. We were wondering, well, how many people will be able to find it? What if they, don't know how to use it? So we said, well, let's measure it. So here's a picture of our dry erase board in our office that tallies how many people call or email us and say, hey, I don't know how to use the new system. So before we jump in and create a new training process or make them a training video, or we've got to help everybody, let's take a look and measure. If we get 100 people that call in or email, we should probably do something about it. If we only get 6 to 8, we can deal with them individually and not have to put a lot of time and resources into it. So again, measurement and just having oversight over your processes is great. If you like this kind of thing, there's a great book out there called Extreme Government Makeover, where the author talks a lot about the pipes of government, how the pipes are clogged based on processes and how you can unclog them. So Walt once said, I happen to be an inquisitive kind of guy. When I see things I don't like, I think, why do they have to be this way? How can I improve them? And that's what oversight's all about. It's watchful, responsible care and wondering how you can make your location better, your people better, your process is better. So here's your action items. The first one is treat your city or agency as if you owned it. So that could be Fairfield City Hall, that could be Vestavia Hills Fire Department. Part of the O could tie into ownership, but people take oversight when they believe that they're part of something bigger than what they are. So treat your agency, your city, your department, your products as if you own them. Second thing is lean towards prevention versus reaction. Again, anybody can be reactive. Any manager can put out fires. Any manager can say, that went wrong, let's fix it, or this person's angry, let's fix it. The real oversight and the watchful care comes that you are preventing it. You're doing CPR classes in advance. You are looking at trends that might happen. You're having oversight, and you're preventing things from happening rather than just reacting to them. The final part that I want you to do, one of your action items, is to be a customer in your own organization. Sometimes we go through with blinders on, we think that we see it one way, but again, try to do business with yourself. For an example, the next time you have to get your license tag renewed or your card tag renewed, oh, you may know somebody at the courthouse who says, hey, come early, I can sneak you in, or you don't have to wait in line because you work here. You ought to wait in line. Say, okay, well, that's okay. I'm just going to go through the regular process to see what it's like, to understand the needs. Call your own front desk, call your own department, see how long it takes, because you have oversight over that to try and improve those processes. So the R is for relationships, the O is for oversight, the L is for leverage. And leverage is a very powerful word. Going back to my tornado example, you take a look here. I wonder how this crane is even staying up. It's balanced just right to give it the leverage that it needs. And again, you can also think about a teeter-totter. Now, some of you probably call it a seesaw. I still call it a teeter-totter. But remember when you were a kid and you wanted someone to play with you on the teeter-totter and no one would, so you were kind of had this example here. It's not fun. There's nothing exciting about it. Sure, you could do it by yourself, but you really need that leverage of someone else to kind of help you. So here's our definition of leverage. It's the power or ability to act or to influence people, events, decisions, and so on. That's part of leveraging your people, your processes, but also leveraging your power. The power word there is very, very important. So I want you to be thinking about what type of power you currently have, because there's multiple types. The most common is position power. And that just means, well, I'm a sergeant, I'm a lieutenant, I'm a battalion chief, so I have position power. Based on my title, I have power. You have to do what I tell you to do. There's also coercive power. Well, that's a little more unethical. You've got referent power, where someone gives you the power. You've got charismatic power, kind of like having gravitas, where, just by walking in the room or having a sense of charisma, people do what you want. But if you're going to leverage your partners and your people and your processes to get work done, because we can't do this by ourselves, we have to use other partners, know what your power is. And you can find this out by just Googling types of power in business, types of organizational power, types of people power, and you'll be able to see these. You can figure out which one applies to you. The second thing you want to leverage is your partners. One of the most important things about these personnel board training courses that a lot of you come and attend is the people you meet. And yes, there's great content, and yes, you're going to learn something, but you're meeting people from 22 different agencies and jurisdictions and places that will really help you in your leadership journey. The table discussions are good, the after-class discussions are good, and so you're making relationships, you're building partnerships, so let's leverage those. Let's leverage those to the best of your ability, because it is a team effort. Like Walt once said, whatever we accomplish belongs to our entire group. And that's part of our leadership journey. It's not for us. It's not for the glory. It's about a tribute to the combined effort of everybody who helped a project succeed. So here's your action items for L. First one is discover your power preference and use it ethically. I believe I already mentioned that. Find out what it is. But here's another important part. Provide something for your partners before you ask for something. This is a picture of Bobby Humphrey. He came to one of our networking events, and he was our keynote speaker. And I appreciate Kim Kennedy knowing him and connecting with him. But when he got here to speak, I also asked him, I said, what can we do for you? What can we provide for you? And he said, well, I'd like to get more involved in the speaking circuit. Is there anybody who I should, talk to, or how do I get more of these speaking gigs? And so I connected him with a few people, and, in a couple of months, he was really out there speaking at different clubs and organizations. He really enjoyed that. And I think that's important. So it's not just leverage, it's not just what can you do for me, it's also what can I provide for you. And that's how you use your leverage skills. So R, relationships. O, oversight. L, leverage. E, evolvement. You truly have to evolve. We use a training video in one of our sessions here where there's a world-class surgeon who says the following. She says, I think the day you stop learning should be retirement day. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I think that we can always learn different ways to lead, different ways to manage, different ways to coach, because the workplace is changing, the generations are changing, and so one size does not fit all. So I want you to evolve. Got some pictures here to kind of round out our tornado story. You can see this is pictures when we first moved into our house pre-tornado. You can see the electrical boxes in the front there on the bottom right, and take a look at the exact same location post-tornado. We lost a lot of trees, we lost a lot of homes, lost a lot of nature, but it evolves, which means it comes back. It takes time, but it comes back. The neighborhood will evolve to what it used to be. And it's been over 5 years now, and it's starting to look a whole lot better. But the idea behind evolving is you may go through some rough patches, but evolution takes a little bit of time. So your growth as a leader will continue. It'll take some time, but you'll get better and better through all of your life experiences. And we rebuilt on this same lot, and everything is back up and running now, but it has evolved. And Walt Disney once said, in this volatile business of ours, we can't afford to rest on our laurels. Times change, conditions change. We must keep focused on the future. Now, Walt Disney was in the entertainment business and the theme park business, so you may think, well, that's not really like local government. And it is a different audience, but things are changing in local government too. We may not be as volatile as the entertainment industry or the TV industry, the theme park industry, but we do change, and we change just as much. So we have to keep focused on the future. That's what evolvement is all about. So here's your 3 takeaways as we move towards the end here. I want you to evolve from a voiceless employee into a trusted expert. I think it's extremely important that we don't view ourselves as just pawns in a big game, and I can't make a difference, and I can't do anything, and I have no power. I think the more you learn, the better you become, the more relationships, the more oversight, the more leverage. Now you're evolving into a trusted expert, which again is somebody who's to be valued. I want you to evolve from a boss into a leader. There's some people out there who are watching who may be in management roles or supervisor roles, and just because you have the stripes or have the title doesn't mean that you inspire people. When you evolve and become more of a leader, even a servant leader who serves others, that's where you become better. And finally, I want you to evolve thinking that you have a job into thinking that this is part of a career. This is a career. The merit system is a career. If you think about your daily work as a job, you don't put your whole heart into it. You just think that I got to get through the day, I got to get to the next break, I've got to get to Friday. Whereas if this becomes your career, we're doing things that will improve our city, our jurisdictions, our agencies, the city, the county, whatever it is, it feels more valuable. It feels like you can make a difference. And it also feels like something a leader would say, that they have a career as opposed to a job. So that's the leadership role model: relationships, oversight, leverage, and evolvement. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me today. A couple of reminders. Here's my email address again. If you'd like to send me any feedback on this so we can update things in the future, let me know how the audio and video are. How's the login process? Any future ideas? We'd love to hear them. We're going to try different days and times as well, because we've got a couple of events coming up. The next one will be on Tuesday, May 29th with Michael Glaze. He's going to try the 11 o'clock time slot. And then Wednesday, June 25th, Kim Robinson, formerly Kim Kennedy, will be doing one at 10:30. Greg Bowen, our newest trainer, will take one in July. And again, we're just going to keep doing these and try them and see if you like them or not. We are going to record these, and you have been recorded. We'll put them on our website. And again, send us any information you have, topics you have, that we can help improve your skill as a merit system employee. And for this particular event, to help you become the best role model as a leader that you can possibly be. Thanks for spending some time with us today, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.